Today, I'm going to be getting the Platinum Trophy for LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2. According to PSN profiles, this game is a 4 out of 10 difficulty that takes 2 playthroughs and 50 hours to complete. For a traditional LEGO game, 50 hours is a lot, and the reason this game is such a time sink to plat is because it has a massive open world within it, and you need to 100% the game for one of the trophies. This not only means completing all of the collectibles and True Believer statuses within the story and bonus missions, but you also have to complete all of the hundreds of side quests, challenges, and puzzles within that open world. With this being such a big LEGO game, we broke it up into 2 parts. First is to just complete the story, which gives us a trophy at the end of each mission, and part 2 will be the open world, miscellaneous free play cleanup, and the bonus missions. The main story took about 14 hours to finish, but as a Marvel fan, I really enjoyed the story, so I'll do my best to summarize each mission. So the game begins with the Guardians of the Galaxy flying into Xandar to help defend an incoming attack. It's here you'll learn the basics of the game, fighting through enemies, solving puzzles, and helping any civilians on your path. Once you clear the city, the main villain of the game, Kang the Conqueror, shows up. Kang, just toying with the Guardians, brings in a Celestial to fight them, Isan the Searcher. After a fun introductory boss fight, we defeat it, but soon find out that it was just a distraction for Kang to deploy his transport beacons and move on to his next target, Terra Earth. The Guardians escape just in time to make their way to Manhattan, where the first mission ends. Meanwhile, at the Avengers Mansion, a victory celebration was just getting started when an emergency call from Nick Fury sounds the alarms. We're thrown on a quick tutorial mission where we explore around what's going to be the main hub for the game. I meet Gwenpool, who introduces us to pink bricks, which we'll have to unlock later in the game, but for now we just ignore them and collect all of the parts needed to access the command center. I accidentally stumbled across the Grandmaster's Battletorium and decided to play a match of Capture the Infinity Stones. Unexpectedly, I pop a trophy afterwards for doing so. We got it. Grandmaster greetings. I just played this out of curiosity. I had no idea there was a trophy for it. I finally get around to answering the call, and Fury informs us of a huge spike in supervillain activities. The next mission starts with Thor, Cap, and the strongest Avenger, She-Hulk, investigating a radiation spike in a remote area of Siberia, where we find and stop the presence who is behind it. Meanwhile, in the depths of the ocean, Captain Marvel and Iron Man are on a mission to stop Attuma, who is planning an unknown attack. After destroying the base, Captain Marvel begins to question what Attuma is actually planning, and they head back to debrief thinking something smells fishy. Back in New York, we join Spider-Man, White Tiger, and Kamala Khan, who are controlling a raft prison outbreak. This is one of the best parts in the entire game for Spider-Man fans as we fight through Shocker, Fishbowl head-looking Mysterio, literally, Vulture, Kraven the Hunter, and Doc Ock. Things are starting to finally look cleaned up when the real purpose of all these attacks is revealed, with Kang flying in and hitting the city with more transport beacons. This time, there's no escape and the mission ends with everyone being engulfed. We quickly see Spider-Man falling back into the bridge he was just on, but after getting rescued by Spider-Gwen, he realizes there's some dimension distorting going on. Kang announces that we are now in his world of worlds, Chronopolis. The Avengers discover portals on the edge of Manhattan and decide to split into 2 teams, one to track down a group of knights and another to follow Claw, who was just seen running into a portal. I decided to follow the path of Claw, and after jumping into the portal, we find ourselves in Wakanda and are joined by the Black Panther. We track Claw into a Vibranium mining outpost where he leads us to a fight against Manape and slips away. We take control of Team 2, whose portal leads them to medieval England. We're greeted by the Black Knight Piercy, who requests our help in overthrowing the evil that's overtaken his castle, the Enchantress. Although it's true that she had taken over the castle, Captain Avalon and Doctor Strange come through a portal to reveal the knight we thought we were helping is actually Nathan Garrett in disguise, who was luring us into a trap. We fight off the Enchantress and defeat Garrett to free the real Sir Percy before jumping into another portal. Both groups are now reunited in the Hydra Empire, and after a quick Vibranium hunt around the city, we override the entrance to the Hydra airship where Claw and Zola are working together. After another battle with Claw and a diversion attempt from Cap's old friend Baron Zemo, we finally put an end to the chase. Thor and Captain Marvel show up with a lead on Kang's whereabouts and are told to pursue it while the others clean up. They jump through a portal that takes them to Man-Thing's swamp, and after an intense battle, we knock him out to reveal he was actually defending the Nexus of all realities. Kang applauds us for doing his dirty work for him and shatters the Nexus to connect all realities into one time and space, uniting his kingdom. Watching his broadcast from the command room, the Avengers get a signal interference from beyond Chronopolis. Unfortunately, the signal is too weak, so they send the Guardians out on a mission to retrieve a negative ion emitter, which after scanning for was surprisingly in the Old West. With Chronopolis united, we officially unlock access to the open world. I explore around and do a couple of side quests to unlock gold bricks. Eventually, we'll need to do each of the hundreds of tasks in the open world, so just assume I complete whatever I come across naturally throughout my first playthrough. We make our way into the saloon to progress the main story and find out that the power source we're looking for was coming from inside of MODOK's chair. Before we even have an opportunity to ask for it, MODOK goes into his bobble-headed rage. The fight eventually makes its way outside and MODOK hovers onto a train. Star-Lord is joined by Kid Colt and Arizona Annie, and after fighting through the different train carts, we catch up to MODOK and finish him off with a couple of chickens. With his chair in our possession, we bring it back to the Avengers Mansion and Rocket boosts the receiver. Cosmo, the goodest boy in the galaxy, is on the other end calling from nowhere. Realizing the head's energy could help take out Kang's defenses, the team comes up with a plan to bring Nowhere to Chronopolis. And in order to do this, we need to collect all of the scattered Nexus shards from around Chronopolis. To make this job easier, Captain America, Thor, and Captain Marvel set out to apocalyptic Asgard in hopes of finding Heimdall, who could pinpoint their locations with his infinite sight. As Thor approaches Odin to question what madness had happened here, the ground shakes and a pillar begins to fall toward him. Heimdall pushes Odin out of harm's way, revealing it was just Loki pretending to be his father. Before anything can be done, Surtur emerges from the lava below, seeking his revenge. This is one of my favorite boss fights in the game. From the music to the visuals, it was a blast. We use each character's unique abilities to throw water onto Surtur to weaken him into a damageable form. Eventually, Thorjane hits him with the finishing blow that sends him back into the core, and we regroup with Heimdall, who agrees to help find the shards. Meanwhile, Doctor Strange, Spidey, and She-Hulk head to Sanctum to grab the Book of Vishanti. After casting a few spells, we unlock the safe Strange thought he was keeping the book in just to find out it was gone, but hearing a toilet flush in the background, we all look up to see Mordo walking out of the bathroom with it. We fight it out in the mirror dimension and take back what's ours. By the time we get back, Heimdall has already located all 5 Nexus shards, and the first one we're after is in Kunlun. So we're off to Manhattan Noir to recruit Iron Fist, but he says he can't leave until he finishes taking down Kingpin with the Defenders. We help to speed things along by collecting intel for Daredevil, and the last thing we need to do before we can break into Fist Tower is grab a disguise for Luke Cage. In order to do this, we need to go back to HQ and create a custom character wearing the proper outfit. Doing so unlocks our next trophy for creating a custom superhero. We easily sneak in with the help of our inside contact, Spider Noir, and after fighting through some goons, we're greeted by Hammerhead. I take a picture of him with the flash on, and he has the same reaction I do every time my girlfriend tries to show me something on her phone in light mode. With Hammerhead down, we find Fisk in the ballroom with Eliza Noir. She instantly recognizes Daredevil and says, "Nice suit, Matt." He, like most of you watching, had no idea who she was since she's from a different reality. And I really want to take this small moment to appreciate how many nods to the comics this game has. Anyway, we knock her out and take on Kingpin, whose biggest weakness turns out to be his love for music. Unable to resist dancing to his favorite song, we take advantage of the opportunity to get some punches in until he's asleep. Spider Noir stays back to party, and we head over to Kunlun with Iron Fist. After solving the cave's mysteries, the Steel Serpent tries to stop us from collecting the shard by controlling the dragon Shao Lao's heart. This was another visually appealing fight, and once we had taken down the serpent, we finally have our hands on the first shard. Now it's off to the future to find the next fragment in Nueva York. This is my favorite mission in the entire game because we get to play as Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, and Miguel O'Hara, aka Spider-Man 2099, all in the same mission. We take down Electro 99, who is defending the entryway into Alchemax's lab. Once we get in, we find out Goblin 99 is in charge of defending the Nexus, and he says he has a little party waiting for us inside. I'm hyped to see traces of symbiotes all over the lab, and once we finally get to Goblin, it's even better than I expected. We have a boss fight against Karnum. Now, fun fact about Karnum, the only time this character has ever existed in Marvel history is in this game. As you'd probably guess, Karnum is a deadly mixture of both Venom and Carnage, who was created by Goblin and controlled by the Nexus Shard. Once we had defeated him, Karnum took revenge and we collected our fragment. Our next fragment is located in Hala, the home of the Kree. We hop back on board with the Guardians, who are hoping to sneak in and out without the Kree even realizing the shard is in their possession. Unfortunately, when we get there, Ronan the Accuser is already in control of it and plans to use it so that the Kree may rule Chronopolis. After defeating him and grabbing a hold of the Nexus, the level ends on a cliffhanger with a mysterious voice screaming to the Guardians. Continuing against the Kree, they've invaded Adelon with the help of Black Bolt's traitor brother Maximus, who is planning on combining forces with them. The Inhumans fight their way into the throne room, where Maximus reveals information about Ronan and the Kree's Nexus before being defeated. This puts Black Bolt and Medusa on the Kree's trail, and they head to Hala to stop the attack. Once they arrive, they're confused to see Ronan is nowhere in sight and question who is commanding the Kree when the mysterious voice from earlier is revealed to be the Supreme Intelligence, who has also captured and mind-controlled the Guardians to fight for him. We dance battle Star-Lord and slowly break the control of each of them before Rocket damages the Supreme Intelligence into lockdown mode. The team splits up for now, and we collect our third Nexus fragment. Our next stop is Lumeria at the bottom of the ocean, and once we get there, Attuma captures us and sends us back to Sakaar, where the Red King puts us up to fight against the World Breakers, aka a lot of Hulks, including Bruce. After fighting the guards controlling the Hulks, we take down the Red King, and our green friend from work is finally back with us. With some extra muscle on our side, we return back to Lumeria and easily take down Attuma to grab the fourth shard. Our final stop is in Egypt, where a fragment somehow landed itself inside of an ancient tomb. Once we make our way inside, a pharaoh greets us and mentions once the shard is removed from the tomb, the charge and energy will awaken the mummy inside, who will take vengeance on the first soul it sees. The pharaoh says he has no intention of that soul being him, then grabs the shard and reveals again to be Loki, who had slipped away earlier. After fighting off the mummy, we catch up to Loki right before he can escape and secure the final Nexus fragment. Carrying out the plan to bring Nowhere to Chronopolis, we activate the device on top of the Avengers Mansion, only to find Ego the living planet on the other side of the portal. Kang sabotaged our plan and Ego begins to rain down destruction. We fight through waves of Kang's minions while Strange works on redirecting the device. Eventually, we cut off Ego and successfully bring Nowhere in. Cosmos sends out an EMP and disables the shields of Kang's citadel. Kang has one last card up his sleeve and teleports in his ship to wipe out the Nova Squadron attack. With his ship now in Chronopolis, Iron Man, Star-Lord, and Spider-Man break in to finally confront Kang. Once they make it to the control room, they discover Kang isn't on board, but Michael Korvac is. A being with the power cosmic, basically a god. This is a Lego game though, so it takes just a few shots from Tony's blasters to defeat him and escape Kang's self-destructing ship. With nowhere to go now, the full force of the Avengers storm the Citadel. We face off Kang in a super fun boss fight where he constantly would bring back previous bosses we had faced throughout the game. Eventually, some strange magic happens and Agamotto's eye counterbalances the chronoturbulence, allowing Doctor Strange to injure Kang with Ison's hand. Kang, not ready to give up, wants a final showdown of epic scale and decides he wants to face Captain America in hand-to-hand combat and threatens the entire world if refused. We scale up with the technology inside and duke it out, and with a powerful uppercut, Cap shoots Kang out of his rig. Surrounded, he just laughs, saying he'll reset the timeline so that their victory never happened, but when he reaches for his crystal, his lover Ravonna betrays him and uses it against him. She reverses him back to the age of a child so that he may choose a different life path, and the game ends with a celebration. We unlock 2 more trophies and at this point have 23 of the 46 to 100% the game, so it's time to do a lot of cleanup in phase 2, free play in the open world. We did a couple of hours in the open world and eventually unlocked our first Gwenpool mission. This is the first of 10 bonus missions inside the game, and just like the main stories before, we're gonna need to get the True Believer status on all of them in order to unlock a trophy. On top of that, we need to rescue Stan Lee on every mission, as well as collect all of the pink bricks. Once we finish the first bonus level, I figured it'd be a good stopping point for us to take a break from the open world and replay the first mission. Once we get into the boss fight against Ison the Searcher, we have an opportunity to earn a trophy. All right, we're gonna pull out Spider-Man here and hopefully not die. Boom, celestial selfie. I earned my next trophy by accident while trying to solve one of the open world puzzles for having both of my party members be Captain America. Next, we come across Fin Fang Foom in the open world, and after we do his side quest, unlock him as a playable character, which allows us to get another trophy in the Defying Conventions bonus mission. Okay, so let's see. If this is the right mission, then the second we swap here to my guy, Fin Fang Foom, we'll get a trophy. There it is. Fin Fang Fanboy. Later, we come across Morbius, who's the last character we need for the Monster Time trophy, and once we unlock him, we replay the first mission to pop the trophy. All right, chat. You guys already know it's Morbin time. Boom. Monster Squad. Have Morbius, Capwolf, Triton, and the Living Mummy in a party. At this point in my playthrough, I unlocked the mini kit detector Pink Brick, so I started going back and replaying all the main story missions to unlock all the mini kits when we accidentally unlock We Are Groot. We Are Groot? Oh, I didn't even mean to pop that. Okay, so that trophy is for having 2 different types of Groot in your party. One being the small Groot, and then one being the big Groot. Skipping over about 10 hours of grinding the open world, we finally unlock our last bonus mission of the game. At this point, I've replayed all of the missions I didn't previously get the True Believer status in, so we have 29 of the 30 needed. And as we're loading into this mission, our pink bricks do everything we need for the trophy. All right, there we go. True Believer, Don't Stop Believer. So literally, because we have a 3,800x multiplier and the stud attractor, that all popped before the level even started. And completing the final bonus mission also unlocks us Gwenpool, which pops another trophy. Back in the open world, we fly into Nowhere to complete our last side quest mission. And with all the characters needed for some miscellaneous trophies unlocked, it's time for us to go crazy. We're about to speed run real fast. So we're going to get a trophy for selecting Kang as our playable character while we're in Egypt. So that's going to give us back to where it all began. And then we're going to swap to our other player. And we're also going to make this player Kang, which is going to pop the Council of Kangs. And while we're at that, we're going to go ahead and swap to Cosmo the dog. And then if we also select Lockjaw, we should pop Dog Meat Dog for playing as 2 of the dog characters. The next trophy I go for is for destroying 100 vehicles in the open world. And for this, we just use our custom character and mow them down. Hold on. There's a little bit of a traffic jam here. Halt. There it is, Road Rage 2. At this point, I've done all of the cleanup collectibles for every level leading up to the last, and while replaying the boss fight against Kang, I realized we have an infinite enemy spawner, so I decided to focus 2 combat-related trophies. Okay, well, since I'm assuming right now, enemies are just gonna non-stop spawn until we actually defeat Kang, it seems like the perfect opportunity for us to go ahead and get our Nathan Garrett kills, while we have just like infinite one-shot enemies spawning in. Yeah, they just keep spawning in here, the tubes. Oh, there we go. Tis but a scratch. That one was pretty easy. All right, time to move on to Hulk. This one's gonna take a little bit longer because we need to defeat 100 enemies. We've got to be getting close, boys. Oh, they're on my back. Hold up. Was that King? I feel like I just yeeted King out the map. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we got the Hulk one done. Once we finish the mission, we have all the mini kits collected to unlock and view all comics for another trophy. And right after, we come across our last Stan Lee in peril. All right, we got our boy Stan Lee freed. And that's our 50th one. Getting closer and closer to that 100% goal, we finish our last gold brick puzzle. There it is. That's our final gold brick. Let me get that. Yes, sir. And all we have left for the 100% are the challenges. These are a combination of races, finding hidden objects, and just interacting with the world. We fly through a ring of birds to unlock this trophy for completing our first 10 challenges. Then we get around to finishing our final race in the game. And with just one challenge left, we start a dance party before completing the 100% in nowhere. All we have left is to buy all the characters, which we do with 27 billion studs to spare, and go back to Avengers Mansion to pull the 100% completion lever to earn the platinum trophy. We pull the switch, and we get the platinum trophy. Enough said. Wait for it. Time to put things right. The platinum trophy for Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this platinum trophy and want to see more videos like this, you can click the one on screen or hit the subscribe button.